Hey, this is Jeremy James with Lifestyle Real Estate and Lahana Bonagofsky from the Copper and Oak. She tried to bite somebody, so we had to muzzle her a little bit this week. Lahana, how's it going?
It's going really well.
What?
Really well.
Really well. All right. Well, I'm glad to see your social distancing. It's going to be a little difficult to sample. Oh, that's nice. We've got the whole print. So, welcome to our bourbon show. Most of you know right now that we don't have a name for our bourbon show, and that's what we're relying on you for. Submit your names down below. Tell us what you think we should call our show. She went for Bourbon and the Beast, but I didn't think that was very nice. So, Lahana.
You're definitely the beast here, Jeremy.
So we would love to see what your thoughts are for our show. So we're going to let you guys submit the names, and then we're going to pick what we think are the best names and let you guys vote on what we're going to call our show. So we're doing like bi-weekly, which is like every other week rather than twice a week because I can't do that.
If you can't drink every Monday at 9 a.m., you're an amateur.
Yeah, well, that's true. That's true. So you've got some new stuff here going on with Copper and Oak.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit of what we got going.
Okay, speaking of Mr. Grant Jackson, we just got our new rack cards in that the Idea Farm designed for us. I'm heading on the road today to put them in some different visitor centers around and things like that are pretty close to the Bourbon Trail just to get people into Copper and Oak. And we've been working on a few new things to draw people in. Being a whiskey bar, my favorite that I worked on this week, well, it was myself and our bar manager, Allison Hall, our new whiskey flights. We offer 4 of them.
Nice.
Yeah, because we had talked a little bit about that last week.
Yep.
We got it in play. One
now
of them.
You're very proud of the names.
Yeah, no, I haven't even told you yet.
All right,
so
here we go.
Hang on.
Let's see Lahana's creative madness at work.
I gotta get it together because I giggle. Okay. So one is just what it should be. Since we're here in Danville and we're super big Wilderness Trail fans, what we're trying today. We have one called Tour of the Wilderness, and it has all 4 of their expressions there. Weeded bourbon, the high rye bourbon, their weeded 6-year, and their rye whiskey. Nice. So Tour of the Wilderness.
Nice.
Then we have one that's a really dorky name. It's 4 different Old Forester expressions, and so it's called Enchanted Forest.
Enchanted Forest.
You have to put the ER.
You're gonna hyphenate the
Oh, it does. It says it in caps.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like it has to be obnoxious. Okay. So then we have one called the Whiskey Snob, which is more like that scale whiskeys. And honestly, It's such a great bang for your buck because a lot of people aren't going to go out. You can't just get the bottle of Weller at retail price. You're paying a huge secondary market. If you can find it, you have to jump through hoops.
Yep.
So we have a Weller on there, a Weller pot still, the Henry McKenna 10,
nice,
and then Blanton's, and all of those are on there. You get to try it for it once, and it's not bad at all. Like I'd pay for it all day, every day.
Those are seriously stand-up bourbons.
They are. Are you ready for the last flight? That's my favorite name.
What's the last one?
Rye the hell not.
Rye the hell not, of course. And I am assuming that's weeded bourbons.
All rye. It's all weeded bourbons. Rye the hell not, Jeremy. No, it's 4 different rye whiskeys, but they've been flying off the shelf this week.
Nice.
So anyone who's coming around the Kentucky Bourbon Trail, come here. We will.
Copper and Oak.
We gotcha.
Main Street, Danville. If you hit WTD, just down the road, was it 6 miles?
6 miles.
6 miles, whatever. You go down there, you walk through, you're coming out smelling all corn and wheat and everything else. You're gonna love it, and then you're hungry. Copper and Oak, Main Street, right on the corner of 3rd and Main. Just awesome. Well, so we're doing a twofer today. Today we're doing a twofer of WTD Wilderness Trail Distillery because, like Lahana said, we are big fans of WTD. I just love everything that they've done. I love what they do for the community because they are freaking rock stars.
Yeah. From the people to the product, like I
everything.
Support all of it 100%. We actually had someone in here the other day, and they were about to go do the tour, and due to the current world climate, the tastings are suspended at the distillery for the time being. So we were like, listen, we have the Tour of the Wilderness flight here. You can try it here. And so I'm like going over it with them, telling them, like, this one's my favorite, and this is why. And they were like, how much should I pay you? So this is a hint, like, Pat and Shane, if y'all are watching this.
Pay attention.
Payroll.
Patrick Shane.
Unofficial brand ambassador.
Will work for bourbon.
Will work for whiskey.
Definitely. So I've been a fan of theirs since they started. They were in a little warehouse down just off of 4th Street. I mean, it was teeny. You wouldn't. They're like, oh, there's a distillery in town. I'm thinking some great big giant thing because you think Makers, Woodford, and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And they drive me by, and I'm like, no, I'm gonna get stabbed if I go in there. and it was great. And then they moved out on Lebanon Road, and that place has exploded. Not exploded, but it really got huge. in no
Watching
time.
the expansion has been amazing. The other day, we were actually out there. I was switching out some wrap cards with the guys in the visitor center,
Right.
and I was looking. I love it. Kirby's Custom Signs here in Danville. He did a lot of our artwork. If you ever visit Copper Oak, you'll see it on the wall when you're walking in. Our big sign out front. Kirby did all of that. And when I was there the other day, the rig houses now have the wilderness trail going down there. It looks like the
So cool.
bottle. Like
It's so cool.
it looks amazing out there.
It is so cool. Everybody else is using these brick houses that are just black or whatever, and it's like, okay, that's another brick house. These things, you pull onto the WTD campus, and you're there. The whole just pulling in is an experience in and of itself. It is so cool.
And then the little cat Cooper's always running
Oh
around.
yeah,
I like Cooper.
always. So, well, I tell you what, we're about bourbon, so let's do some bourbon. What do you
Let's
think?
do it. Okay.
So we're gonna start with the 4-year. I just had to buy a new bottle. My original release 4-year has about that much left in it, and I'm sentimental, and I didn't want to kill it off, so I went down and got me a new bottle of 4.
You wouldn't share it with me?
It's not much. I can't help it. You killed yours. Oh, sorry, Patrick and Shane would be upset pouring with the label not showing. And then
Let's do it.
and then Lahana, you brought in your open 6-year. Now I got my 6-year as well, but it's unopened, so we'll be doing that.
I was so excited for that because they were originally going to release it back in April.
Yep.
And
And then
it's
the
like,
world
yeah, it's like
went
the
wild.
25th, and the world quit turning. So back in June, that was.
So we're not gonna do 2-ounce pours on a double tasting today because someone's got to drive home, and my daughter McKenna is not quite old enough. For those of you who don't know, Wilderness Trail Distillery, I believe, is they do a sweet mash.
They do.
And it's a wheated bourbon. So if you like Pappy's, if you like Blanton's, if you like Weller,
Like the Weller Special Reserve.
you're probably gonna like Wilderness Trail. Wilderness Trail has been getting massive press about being one of the best new bourbons, and it is right there with New Riff. Every single article is like basically New Riff in WTD.
They are
It's all
blowing
over
up
the
in the bourbon industry. Like it's honestly really good to. It makes me proud to know them and see what they're doing for our community as big as they're getting.
So right away, I'm getting caramels.
It smells very sweet to me.
Yep. I don't get a lot of alcohol burn on the nose.
Yeah.
The Duke last week about blew me out. Someone said, you don't smell nothing. I was like, yeah, you're probably right because it blew me out as far as the alcohol burn on the nose initially. But this is very approachable. I think this is 100 proof, right? Yep, 100 proof. It's a little bit of step up from your standard
Can I
9.
drink it now? I drink this all the time. I know it smells like Jeremy. So let me drink it.
I've got vanilla, strong vanilla, and caramel. That's
Taste
what
all
I'm
the
getting.
sweetness at first.
Mhm.
It's pretty dry finish, I feel like.
It is a fairly dry finish. It does have some slickness to it. It's not nearly as dry as the Duke was last week.
No.
It's got some slickness to it, but not really oily. One thing about like the Weller 107, it tends to finish really, really oily. This is close to it, which is why when I first had it, I did a side-by-side with the Weller, and I was like, you know what? This 4-year tastes like a young Weller 107, and it really does. So if you like that profile, you're gonna love this because this is vanillas, it's caramels, it has some nice oaky tannins and that dryness in the mouth, and so I really like that about it. This
But I
is
like it because it's different. Like it has its own.
Oh, yeah.
What word am I looking for? This is what happens when you drink at 9 a.m. My vocabulary is like, meh.
we're gonna get you a thesaurus. And, so we talk about bad jokes, and here's one of my bad jokes is it's a shame that there's only one word for thesaurus in the thesaurus because you would think, yeah. See, that was terrible.
You're gonna hear my bad joke today.
All right, let's hear it. While I take another sip, try not to make me spit
Where do
it
you
out.
find
Is
a
that
dog with no legs?
Where do I find a dog with no legs?
Right where you left him.
We do not represent the ASPCA. Please direct all our complaints, Lahana at justtakedoff.halfourviewers.com.
I was so bad. I heard that. I heard that. It was so bad.
So bad. I have a bunch. No, we're not even going to go down that road.
Oh God.
It is
so
way.
bad.
It is way too early in the day, and
Oh.
I haven't had enough of this.
Wait till we go into our 6th year. I have another one. I have one somebody told me last night, and I giggled and giggled like a toddler. I love the fruit that you get on the beginning of this.
Yep.
Are you showcasing it?
Yeah, I'm looking at the legs. So what I like to do is I like to look at the legs of bourbon because I'm a legs man. It's a joke. It doesn't get any better than this. You have to laugh.
I was honestly thinking of how pretty this amber color was. Whatever.
So the legs are after you take a sip or swirl it around the glass, you just watch it streak down the side. And when they're really thick, then you've got more of a thicker type of body. This has got good legs to it. It's not real thick. This is a very, very approachable bourbon, which is why it's so popular right now.
It is.
It's good quality as far as sweetness, mouthfeel, everything is nice, but it's not thin or watery.
And talking to a lot of people who are in the bourbon world, and that's the one thing I've heard over and over. They're like, it's a 4-year. It's young. Like,
Yeah.
well, what was this? Was it having
What is it?
saying that it's 4-year, it's young,
Right.
and things of that sort. And they're like, I really don't think I'll be impressed with it. But most of the feedback that I get back is that they are. To be so young, it's so complex that just knocking it out of the park over
Yeah.
there.
I mean, 4 years old. They were doing yeast stuff for other distilleries and doing all kinds of stuff. And they said, you know what? Let's do this ourselves. Their first product was the Blue Heron vodka and the Harvest rum. And so that because you got to get paid while you're waiting 4 years to sell your first drop of bourbon. And everybody, I remember when that first drop of whiskey went into those barrels, and we had to start waiting 4 years for that bourbon. Everybody was like, Alexa, set timer for 4 years, and we all waited.
Did
And
Alexa even exist then?
I have no idea. You're ruining my joke.
Oh, I'm sorry, keep going.
So we all waited, and we were on sign-up list after sign-up list. Everybody was like signing up their brother, their cousin, everybody to get on these sign-up lists just to get more bottles because we knew that what they were going to do was going to be awesome. And seriously, 4 years, it's phenomenal. All right, so this is my first taste of the 6.
It's mine too.
Yeah, right. Anybody believe that? No. This is her second bottle. Ladies first.
We'll go on then. No, sorry.
All right, we'll just put extra on that. And look at that. Oh my God. Look at that. I did a pour with the label facing me. Sorry, guys.
You're honestly going to failure this Monday. How does that make you feel?
It's Monday. It's Monday. All right.
Losers make excuses, Jeremy. Winners make money.
There are reasons. Oh, look at that. You swirl this around and it coats the glass.
Oh, smell this, please. It's immediate, like the stone fruit,
The alcohol burn is definitely prominent on this one.
Oh.
It's more than the other. What's our proof on this? Is it
100 as
still,
well.
Is it still 100?
Mm-hmm. I think you're going to be really impressed. I may know a guy or two, and I may have tried it back in, I don't remember what month.
Yeah.
And when that happened, it was really funny. I was actually heading home, and my friend was like, okay, we're going to finish up the tasting notes on the 6th year. And I U-turned right in the middle of Lexington Avenue, ready to go. Give me your thoughts.
You can taste the extra time with the oak. That is probably my biggest profile difference between the 4 and the 6 is it's lost the dessert quality that the 4-year has. And it's really got more complex with that time and barrel with the oak in the chart.
Never really until the 6th year did I get a lot of the leather taste from different whiskeys.
Right.
And this one's there, 110%. I taste like pecans, the leather. It's good. Yeah. I love seeing your face because this is an actual blind tasting for you.
This is blind. I've never tasted the 6-year. And you're right. I'm getting that leather, and it's got a long finish. Again, it's dry. It's not oily. The mouthfeel is good. It's a medium body type of mouthfeel. My mouth is still, I can still feel it. I mean, even now, the finish is very long.
But it's not a hot finish.
No, it's not blowing me
It's
out.
on the sweeter end for sure.
It's definitely not like a barrel proof or anything like that. This is very high quality, but it has lost that, well, I won't say lost. It has gained complexity and moved away from the more dessert quality.
Yeah.
Because the 4-year is definitely a sweeter bourbon, much more approachable for like a beginner palate.
Right.
Not to say it's for wimps or anything like that. Don't hear me. Anybody that hate it. Have you found people that love whiskey so much they hate it? And they hate on that.
I know people who are like, you put ice in it, you drink it. I'm just like, drink it however you want it.
But yeah, you drink bourbon the way you want it. Like
Yeah.
if I get a bourbon that's way too big, way too hot, like I had Colonel Taylor barrel one time. Took my first sip, burnt my tongue. I mean, you can feel it. You know, you like sip of hot coffee and it like singes your tongue.
Yeah.
That's what my tongue felt like. I'm like, we need to step that down.
Macaulay and I just did that. Macaulay is the guy, a lot of you probably know, especially if you're familiar with Wilderness Trail. He does their barrel pick program. The guy is a master taster. He knows his stuff. And we did an Elijah Craig barrel proof a few weeks ago. It was so funny because Macaulay takes a sip. He hands the glass over. And I'm like, what do you think? And he's like, taste it. And I was like, okay. So I tasted it. And I was like, my lip.
Right,
But
right.
And I think it was like the new release. It's like 136.6 proof. And so he was like, it's really good, but I couldn't tell you what I thought because my lip
It's burned. And that's where I say, you know, when I first started drinking bourbon, it was always with the big cube, you know, because macho guys, you take the biggest cube you can find and you shove it down in the smallest glass you can find. And what I found was that I was racing the ice cube. And my first sip would be great because it would have just enough of that water from that melted cube to loosen up the bourbon to where I could actually taste it.
Yeah.
By the last, I'm sipping bourbon flavored water. And so what I found is an eyedropper full of filtered water. Just, if it's too big, it's too hot, just killing you right out.
Yeah.
Take an eyedropper full of filtered water, just put a little bit of squirt in the glass, loosen that bourbon up a little bit. And then what's nice is you're not racing the ice cube.
It does.
You can have a consistent bourbon all the way through that glass that is palatable for you. Because everybody's palate's different. I mean, like we talked about last time,
Completely.
I can give you a rating, thumbs up, thumbs down, 9, 1 through 10, whatever, but it's not going to mean anything to you because you have to taste it yourself. And that's why I like having Lehanna on here because she's got experience with bourbon. I'm not saying she drinks a lot. I'm just saying that she has experience with bourbon. And we get to reflect on each other.
My
which
husband
is
literally
great.
banned me from buying more whiskey this week, so by the time
She's not going to listen.
No, listen, by the time he
You should
watches
know
this, I will already have my 2 new barrel picks and I'll
Okay.
stick them in the back of the closet. It's fine. Talking about that, adding the water, I feel like it brings out a lot more, like the aroma.
Yep.
Last week, I added just a touch of water to a rye whiskey that we had, and everything that I was trying to smell and to differentiate between the scents, it brought it out so
Yep.
much more. And the thing is, I'm never a water in my whiskey type of person,
Right.
but it's insane how the little variables like that change the game completely.
Yeah, and people are, again, you get the macho and they're like, oh, I never, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you know what, stop.
You just tell them, I remember my first whiskey too. That's
Yeah.
what I say too.
So we've got 100, so we've got 120 proof. If you've got a huge bourbon like that and it's really killing you, do you know how they get it to 90? Guess what? Water. It's
No way.
They drop it down. That's how they get it to 90 or 100 or whatever else. Because they're killing that down so that it's approachable and so they can bottle more of it. But when we start looking at that and you start saying, well, you can't put water in your whiskey, stop it.
Stop it.
Just stop it. I mean, stop hating on folks. Everybody comes in at their own place. If you've been drinking bourbon forever and you can drink 120 without even batting an eye and not
When
getting
you're
up,
a bourbon professional.
yeah, whatever. I mean, that's fine. It's probably not the
I do
bourbon.
the same thing with
It's probably
tequila.
not the bourbon review show for you. You drink how you want it. You take a little bit of that filtered water, put it in there, just loosen it up a little bit, and you would be surprised how far that goes. It really does amazing. If you like it with an ice cube, do ice cube. If you pour it in Coke,
Pour it in Coke.
I mean, pour it in Coke.
Hey, when I tailgate all day, I definitely
Oh,
do some ginger ale in there because Lord knows I can't cheer for the UK Cats football,
You passed out.
which is why I drink so much whiskey. But we're getting so much better. We're getting so much better. But
If we
that's
get a
why
play, but
I
you know.
drink so much.
Yeah.
And I mix my bourbon with ginger ale those days. Granted, I'm not mixing Blanton's with it.
Right. Nice entry level, $12, $14.
Yeah.
Mix. Get the flavor.
That's
There
fine.
you go. So yeah. So all right.
So tell me overall what you think about 6.
I'll tell you what. Let's start with 4. Very dessert quality for me.
Mhm.
Very sweet, very approachable, very drinkable. Right away. I mean, it's a reason it's my go-to for folks who want to come over. I get to talk about local stuff because I'm a bit like that.
And I highly recommend it to anyone who is new in the game,
Yep,
just because it's sweeter. It's on the
Yep,
sweeter end.
right.
It's a weeded bourbon,
It's a wheated bourbon, sweet
which
mash,
both are, but you know what I mean. It's a younger weeded.
and it does. It stands up, and it's got great quality to it, which is why it's so popular. The 6 year, I love the 6 year. I love what that 2 years has done to it
Yeah,
because it has added
the complexity is
a whole level of
insane.
complexity. For me, it is very much more oaky and charry than the 4, and that's that 2 years. Now, I can't wait to see this in another year because I'm going to be calling Patrick and Shane up and getting me in there to do a little bit of sipping in a year because that will put it in a Weller 107 because Weller 107 is bottled in 7 years. So I want to see where it's at in a year, and that's total bourbon snobbery right there. But that's what
in general, I'm excited for the future of
I am
Wilderness
too.
Trail.
Oh my gosh!
Like,
Can you imagine when they start doing 12s?
listen. Well, and that's what I tell everybody. That's not a joke. My daily, like my go-to whiskey that I sell to people, I tell them all the time, is their small batch, their black label. It's their high rye bourbon. I love it.
Yep.
That's my go-to. So I can't wait to watch these whiskeys get a little bit more age on them, then see what we're dealing with.
Yeah.
So
It's going to be incredible. I love what Wilderness Trail is doing. They are doing their own stuff. It's their own game. They have gone from the ground up, and they have produced a high-quality product. I'm telling you, they can't get enough praise. The problem is that the more praise they get, the more we shout them out, the harder it's going to be.
listen, we better always find this whiskey.
I'll be banging on Shane and Patrick's door going, hey, give me my bourbon. Anyway.
Can I tell my last joke? I told you I had 2. I swear I told you before this started I had 2.
All right.
This is really bad. It's so bad. So, our sous chef last night, Colton, we were all telling our dorky jokes and said, why did the chicken cross the road?
Why?
Because.
And on that note, in 2 weeks, we'll see you all. Good Lord, I'm going to let her continue. I'm going to let her laugh us out.
I'm done giggling.
We don't know what we're going to try yet. If you've got a recommendation for us, hit us up. Let us know what you want to see. I'm thinking kind of new riff because it's.
Ooh, the new single barrel. Have you had it?
Got a bottle on my shelf.
Maybe
So
we'll do
we
that.
might do, but we could do a side by side new riff and new riff correct on a single barrel. So that would be
These
fun.
side by sides, listen, my husband's gonna be like, Mondays are for the like, and you're already toasty at 10 a.m.
That's right.
But I'm into it.
Pre-gaming. All right. So y'all, thank you again for joining us on the as of yet named bourbon tasting show. With
I'm telling
Amanda
you, I really
Bonagowski.
want to go to Bourbon and the Beast.
You let us know what you think. All right. We're gonna let you name our show. Nothing dirty. Might be some innuendo. I don't care. Whatever. Just keep it clean. All right. Kid show.
Bye, guys.
Whatever. See you all in 2 weeks. Bye bye.